I study consumer financial decision making.
My research focuses on understanding consumer behavior in the context of close relationships.
I look at marketing actions that companies can take to improve their relationships with consumers.
The Jeffrey S. Conant Behavioral Research Lab is a state-of-the-art facility that allows people to do studies on consumer behavior. The lab basically allows faculty and students to conduct psychological experiments on people to understand why consumers buy what they buy, what motivates them, what drives their behavior, all sorts of things like that.
One of our more exciting results from the lab this year has been that we've discovered people set wildly optimistic budgets, which is to say, people will budget something like $100, $150 for their spending over the next week. If you ask them how much they spent at the end of the week, it turns out to be closer to $250 or $300. But here's the catch. The more optimistic a person's budget is, the less money they're likely to spend. So if you were to set a budget of $100 or $150, you'll subsequently spend less money than if you would set a more accurate budget at that $250 or $300 mark.
A lot of companies are implementing loyalty program apps, and you can earn rewards points. And a lot of people assume that you want to take advantage of these points yourself. My question was, what happens when you're able to give these points away to someone else? Okay, so I ran a study in the lab that compared the two. So if someone gave their points away to a friend versus they redeemed the points themselves, how does that impact how they feel about the company? And what we found is that people who gave away their points to another friend actually liked the brand more, and they had higher behavioral intentions towards the company when they were able to give it away versus redeem it themselves.
The Behavioral Lab basically introduces students to the research process. Kind of an important part of understanding how to do research is to learn how to get into the mind of the person doing the studies. And so we have students engage in studies because this allows them to learn how to test theories and also how to kind of design studies.
So the Behavioral Lab is of the utmost importance to our research because it makes it possible for us to follow up with participants week over week. So out in the real world, it's very difficult to ask somebody, how much are you going to spend, or what is your budget for the coming week or the coming month, and then to actually find out how much money they subsequently spend. So one reason why the lab is so important for my research is that it does allow me to ask people, say on a Monday morning, how much money do you think you'll spend this week, and then follow up with them the following Monday to see how much they actually spent during that week.
The Behavioral Lab is great because students come to the lab to participate in our studies, and we're actually able to show them a few products, and they evaluate the products and they make decisions, and we eventually use that data to include it in academic publications.
The main outcomes from the lab are data that are used for studies that are published in academic journals. Ultimately what this does is this helps Ph.D. students and faculty with their research. So it basically helps Ph.D. students get jobs upon graduation, and for faculty it helps them publish in leading academic journals. And at the end of the day, this helps build the reputation of the marketing department, ultimately helps the reputation of the school as a whole.